where was I when I saw E.T.? I remember it very well, and I remember the friends I was with, and I remember who I took to see that film, as much as I remember the film. So they're memories of our life.
I suppose for any of us that have followed your work for a long time, it's so strange to see, you've always had elements in your films, but maybe it's been surrounded by something else. There's always been a family at the center of just about every single film you've made, but it could be dressed up in a science fiction story, or there's an alien, or there's something else. Has anybody ever been to a DGA dinner where Steven's there, or a DGA awards? All anybody talks about is Steven. If you're there, the last DGA awards, we all just wanted to pay tribute to you. And every time we get together, I think everybody asks you the same questions because they can never really believe it. They say, "Well, exactly how do you do these shots?" And you just say, "Well, I come to the set and I just kind of make it up," and you try to. You're very instinctual. It's still in movies, you see when moments happen and they ring true because they're true.
By the way, just listening to Steven Spielberg talk, I was like, I wish I could come out here and talk about Steven Spielberg for like 3 hours. Because, there's Hitchcock and there's Steven Spielberg, it's crazy. It's so incredible. And I liked you listing off my credits. That was nice. But imagine if somebody said you directed Jurassic Park and Schindler's List in the same year.
Private Ryan has some music at the beginning. We've talked a lot, you and I, over the years about openings, and obsessed about openings and go back and forth on openings. And they ring true. They ring true because they're true.
Ominous. What does it mean to you?
It's inspiration.
Altman-esque. Mm-hmm. Do you buy that? Are you influenced by what you saw Robert Altman do?
Yes, but it's funny because I really was thinking a lot about Nashville when I wrote Boogie Nights. I was sort of going, blatantly either ripping it off or totally being influenced or whatever. But I think what happens is it's in my DNA, It's that I grew up watching those movies and seeing those movies. So, it's just informed me and informed how I want to tell stories. So I've learned from that, and hopefully I can bring something new.
Was Altman like that on set? Was Altman like allowing people, like we let people speak, extras talk, and totally. I know that Elliot Gould told me that once on California Split, that those scenes and those casinos, it's just deafening. Everyone's talking and he let it live.
Totally, but I also think that there are as the master who sort of invented that multi-track thing. We here are definitely the children of that, but thankfully have learned, I think, from those mistakes, because there are some of those films. There are some times in California Split where you're like, good try, but I can't hear a fucking word.
Well, that famous story about Warren Beatty.
Yes, I do.
The premiere of McCabe.
Like,
20 minutes in, is this the whole movie sound like this? And Altman like, yeah,
right. What's the problem?
Altman was a big gambler, so I just found like a huge gambler in his late period. Was he?
I didn't know the gambling part of him as much.
You must have loved. You must have been. He must have been huge for you. Yeah.
I loved hanging around with him.
That's insanity to me.
He was he was obsessed with that. There's a guy, John Pritchett, who's still in the business, who did Shortcuts. I've done a bunch of films with him, and he could still do it. I brought it up to him the other day, and he's like, "You got a place to put the truck?"
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But he was a perfect example of he had a fucking truck for sound, but at least the set that I was on, it felt like 10 people. Mm-hmm. So maybe there were 40 people. But it never felt that way. And maybe that's the thing. It kind of whatever you could have 100 people, but if the vibe is good, it can feel like a small.
That Altman thing kind of moves through you in a couple movies.
Yeah, for sure.
In the last and the newest one, a lot, right?
Yeah. The funny thing is, it was the first time I really tried to. I had to size up. There's some similarities to The Long Goodbye, but I just thought, I don't need to do another Altman movie.
I didn't quite feel that. I think The Long Goodbye is pretty sparse.
Yeah, for sure. This is
not sparse.
Altman. I think The Long Goodbye and Nashville
seeing them for the first time was probably one of the biggest holy fucking shit moments of my life. What the
really?
I look at this. Yeah, for sure. But with this one, I remember thinking, I've got to try to forget that this film exists, The Long Goodbye, because there's similarities. You just sort of got a detective thing and all that, but just put it to the side. Don't even think about it. I mean, Nashville, of course, and sort of the way that you have sort of multi-characters and sort of intersecting lives and all that kind of stuff. But
where'd you see Baker Hall?
Secret Honor.
Secret Honor, is that the Altman?
That's the Altman movie.
The Nixon movie.
Yeah.
He didn't play Nixon.
He played Nixon. It's just him in a room.
That was him?
Yeah.
Why didn't I know that? That was astounding.
It's great.
And it's like not one that everyone knows.
And the Altman-esque thing, there was somebody that said, this is like Altman on amphetamines. So I appreciated that. So he'll smoke pot and I'll take amphetamines, All right.
Let's talk about, like, Stop Making Sense. That wasn't the first concert film you did, was it?
Yes.
I guess it was.
Yeah.
Well, first and best ever concert film. But then, yeah.
Thank you.
Couldn't resist. Yes, he was excitable, but I think talking about Stop Making Sense is that his definition of cinema, his idea of pure cinema, was when a filmmaker films a musician. That was to him what, right, Lewis? I keep looking at Lewis because
Lewis
is
writing the book.
Lewis is writing the book, but I went to India to make to do my Jonathan Demme film.
I was going to say, you did a music film.
Jonathan Demme movie. And I realized he was right. When you're in the room and you're just and you're taking away any dramatic structure, it just felt like this rush. That there was performance. You're filming people's faces, and that's what Jonathan would do. When you see a lot of these music films that he makes, he spends more time just looking at a close-up of somebody playing than anybody normally would. Normally you see so much of the stage or something like that, but he'll do this like giant close-up of someone, not even the guitar, just a close-up of their face. And takes your breath away. I told him I was going down there, but I just secretly knew I was just going to go.
You didn't need his advice. You already had it.
I had it because I was just going to go do exactly what he would have done. And then I got to show it to him too, which was great. And I always wondered, like, what's it like for him? He's really seeing just how much I'm ripping him off here. Has anybody here not seen Silence of the Lambs, by the way? Subjective camera, when you started messing around with that, because I can remember you doing it. When you did Silence of the Lambs, you really took it to, you really kind of grabbed it, and it was a very serious part of that movie. It's not just like a shot into the lens. It's a probably 8 to 10 page scene into the lens. The passion that he would get from actors, because he would also think of an actor to be in a part that no one would really think of, too, And he was right, Anthony Hopkins was not, people wanted, who did they want of Lewis? They wanted Tommy Lee Jones, and who was the other actor? Gene Hackman, imagine a time when you had to fight for Anthony Hopkins. It was really true, like, I'm gonna get Anthony Hopkins, and it was like a risk, and there was Jonathan. And then the kind of grand finale 1-2 punch of Silence of the Lambs suddenly coming along that was like kind of the only movie that he'd made that made any money, right? That's beautiful. I mean, obviously, Silence of the Lambs, great movie. I was thinking about the idea that they had to put him in a glass instead of prison bars because they knew they had all these scenes between Jodie Foster and between Clarice Starling and Hannibal Lecter, that if they had to shoot through these bars, it would be irritating. So they came up with this brilliant idea of having this kind of like glass. They're not doing it here, but one thing he does so well in that movie is having people talking to the camera. There's two things. I think there's the stories that he tells I really like. I like the characters. He's got really good girls. But visually, they just speak to me. The way he frames the shots, the music that he uses. It's a long list of things that I love about his work. There's always about 25 or 30 times when I'm making a movie where I stop and I just ask myself, well, how would Jonathan Demme do it? I try and do it like that.